Let me start this by making this perfectly clear. This isn't about blaming a specific hiking group. This is not about attacking any individual. And this is definitely not about disrespecting the person who lost their life. But what we cannot do is pretend like this is just one of these things that has happened. Because if we don't ask the hard questions now, this is bound to happen again. Over the past few years, 5 to 10 years, the boom in the touring and hiking industry in Trinidad and Tobago just take off. Groups just start popping out from everywhere. Anywhere you look, anywhere you turn on social media, you're bombarded by all these videos and pictures of these beautiful rivers and waterfalls and amazing greenery and scenery all around. And then suddenly it hits you. Even if you're just somewhat familiar with the outdoors, you just go out every now and then, you could turn this into a lucrative form of income. $300 to $500 per head, depending on the location. And this is where most people get mixed up. Because just being familiar with the bush, being able to take care of yourself and being able to navigate through the bush yourself does not make you qualified or capable of taking care or being responsible for other people. So let me ask this first question honestly and fairly, right? Are all these hiking groups that just start popping up from nowhere, are all of these hiking groups certified or registered? And if they are certified, who certifies them? Is there a board? Is it the government? Is it just paperwork and fees you had to pay? Once you pay the fee and you fill out the paperwork, use a hiking tour guide. When you make the decision to start a hiking group, and allow people to pay you to take them into the bush, you have to understand that you're not responsible for these people's lives. This is just not a business where you could just take somebody money and just show them certain spots and everything hunky-dory. This is in the bush you're going. Let me give them the benefit of the doubt, right? Let me give every single tour guide and hiking group out there the benefit of the doubt and say that they are certified. What are the criteria to become certified? Does it include swift water safety, emergency evacuation planning, terrain navigation, first aid beyond applying a band-aid, and one of the most important, decision making under pressure, under situations that call for you to stay calm when everybody around you literally falling apart? Or is it just a certificate on a wall that you pay some money for and you get the frame? And they're telling people, hey, come let me take you in the bush. That piece of paper without the proper experience and training could never save somebody in rising water. The title of high captain or tour guide captain does not free somebody who trapped in a river. And the amount of Instagram followers you have from posting the videos of the nice scenery does not dictate or does not predicate you being trained enough to have the responsibility of other people's lives in your hand. And it definitely don't replace real life experience when it comes to something like the outdoors. Now let me talk about the most pressing issue here, right? Preparation. Or the ability to have the foresight to be prepared enough to deal with anything that might happen on the trail, on the hike, on the trek that you're going on. When you're taking somebody into the bush to go by a river, a gorge, passing through water, running water, you don't know the depth of it. There are certain things that you need to have on person, and there are certain things that you need to have in place, especially if you are responsible for other people's life. Anybody with real outdoor experience or actually know how to do these things will never enter these kind of terrains without specific things. A well-packed first aid kit, emergency communication plans, and the ability to get to these services as quick as possible. Let them know, hey, we're going out so by so today, you need to have somebody on standby in case of emergency. These are calls and procedures that need to be set up beforehand so that when something happens on the trail, on the hike, on the day, you don't have people jumping out at themselves trying to figure out a way to beat through the rain, beat through the traffic, beat through the flood to try to reach there to save somebody's life. Clear weather monitoring. I mean, come on. You're going to a river, a flowing stream of water, possibly on a mountain or a hill or somewhere. So you are at the base of a mountain, bathing in a waterfall, bathing in a river. The tour guide didn't think to check what the weather will be like, or just so happened the weather just magically changed. You know how the weather does operate? Weather just changed. Have the foresight to see, hey, this is going to turn from bad to worse. We need to get these people at least out of the water. Clear evacuation routes. If you head into a specific area, you're supposed to be very familiar with that area if you carrying other people there. You're supposed to have set up beforehand ways to get out in case of emergency, routes, systems in place that you explain to people beforehand. In case of emergency, there are these routes. Print it out on a pamphlet, hand them it. That's what people paying you for. And the one thing that could have saved this person's life, cutting tools. That's probably the most important thing. You going into the bush without proper cutting tools, because I don't want to misreport or give you wrong information, but from the reports that I have seen, they said that the lady's foot was trapped between two logs underwater. Again, we're not here to blame anybody or point fingers, but preparedness. These things are not extras. These things are not, if I feel like it, I'm going to pick it up and walk with it. These are life-saving tools. These are equipment, pieces of equipment that you need to have on your person when you're venturing out into these kind of places. The people who hire you have no idea what they're getting themselves into or what they're going into. That is the reason they hire you. You're supposed to be intelligent enough, having knowledge, the experience, and the know-how to think about all things that could happen and find ways to get out of them in case they happen. That is what people paying you for. That is the responsibility you have as hike leader. I don't want to see how pretty the waterfall is. I don't want to see how nice the fauna is. I don't want to see the fish in the water. What I want to see is your preparedness and your ability to function under pressure, under stress, and your ability to be a leader in times of crisis, because I'm paying you to put my life in your hand. So it had to work out somehow for me too. And this is not saying that everybody's reckless and everybody just mishandled the group and them kind of thing. I'm speaking only to the people who know that they're not qualified to be a hiking instructor, even though they are either registered or certified, but you know you're not qualified with experience to be that. Because at the end of the day, let me be real clear on something. Somebody versed in this field, somebody properly trained, somebody who know what they're doing, would have proper protocols, will have proper tools, will have proper measures in place to prevent instances like this from happening. Whether by knowing not to venture into the water now because the weather changing, the rain mightn't start to fall as yet, but you have to know the weather changing, and time you reach halfway down the line, the river could come down. You have the proper tools at hand. These are the things that somebody with the proper experience, the proper knowledge in this field would know how to do. So it's not about blaming. It's about asking about what systems people really have in place when they're taking people's life into their own hands. Taking responsibility and keeping these people safe. That's a fair question, right? What systems in place to ensure that protocols exist so risks are reduced? You understand that, right? It might be tedious, it might be boring, it might be repetitive, but these protocols exist to keep people safe. When you have proper training, decisions are made faster, quicker, easier, and better. And yes, we know Mother Nature, let's take what Mother Nature wants to take. And you cannot prevent all instances at this point that might happen or will happen. Too often, it's not nature alone. It's unprepared leadership. This isn't about one group. This isn't about one hike. And this definitely isn't about cancelling anybody or placing blame on anybody. This is about the people who see in the bush as a quick way to make fast money without understanding. For $300 that you're so eager to get, you're literally taking responsibility of somebody's life in the most dangerous place in Trinidad, the bush. And when you, as the hike leader or the tour guide or whoever you is, see that as $300 and not the responsibility of taking care of somebody's life, the end result of that is the families end up paying the price when they lose their loved ones. If you are properly well-trained tour guide, you're registered, you're certified, you know what you're doing, you know the bush, you know the responsibility that you're taking on, this video is not going to affect you in any way. As a matter of fact, you will agree with most of the things that I'm saying, because these people who don't know, who will be offended by the video and will take offense to it, and I am glad you're doing that, they are the ones that this message will actually affect and actually reach a hope, because any experienced, any trained person would know that the bush is unforgiving. It do not forgive mistakes. One mistake you make inside it could cost you your life. And when you're putting your life in the hands of somebody who you think is intelligent enough in this field to take responsibility for you, that's why you're giving your money for, and it falls through, this is the end result. And we don't want to see this happen again, because one life lost in this tragic way is too much, is one too many. Hopefully, the government will see this as an initiative to make a little crackdown on all these tour guides and hiking groups that pop up out of nowhere, and possibly try and get some more training to these people, especially the ones who need it. I cannot see anybody disagreeing with this video unless you not qualified or certified or properly well trained to run a tour or a hiking group, and you're doing that. But if you disagree with this video, let me know in the comment section below. If you think what I say is making sense, leave your thoughts in the comments below also. For them, for those reviews, is Jeremy, and I'll see everybody in the next one. Later.